Hey guys, drove to a new location and my phone overheated. So I was just talking about relationships and uh, healthy communication and things that you do in relationships. So um, just wanted to start this video and to give encouragement that God didn't intend us to be alone. And so if you're going through a season of loneliness, God's there and you're not alone. Take advantage of your time. I don't know what to tell you other than what I'm going through, and so I don't have a whole lot to say. If you're going through separation or learning, let this time be different than others and apply that to everyone in your life. What the enemy intends to hurt us, God will use to strengthen us. But we have to be strengthened. And we have to protect our temples and our homes. And what we allow in them is going to really dictate everything. We are the temple of God, His Holy Spirit. When Jesus died, He sent us a helper, a comforter, and He lives within us. So kick out what's not comforting you. In fact, kick out what is not God rooted, because God is looking and calling us to be holy, and so we deny ourselves. We deny what we allow in our ears, what we allow within our presence, with what we allow in our homes. Protect yourself and protect yours. I've said it and I'm going to continue to say it. The enemy doesn't play clean. He will use what you allow in your life and those you allow in your life within your own temple and what you allow in your home. So protect yours. And for those that are going through trying times, they're out of work, worried to lose work, going into new things, I want to say that I don't want to speak everything out as it's in the growing process, especially spiritually, because God's hand is what I pray to have on what I'm going into. And not everything you're supposed to tell everybody, especially while it's in the growing process. When it's more established, it's okay to speak more things, because the enemy can cause issues in the things that we are trying to go through. Just like when you are trying to upgrade in life or break from something in life, somebody will come back to try to hold you back. But I ask for prayers. I'm looking to further in my education starting next month. This Monday, I am accepting what is. God's consequences are good. Humans' consequence is different. God's justice is good. Humans is different. We often respond out of emotion and or hurt, and sometimes it's very warranted, sometimes it's not. It just depends on a lot of different things. But God's consequences and punishment is to correct us, and that's love. And we often hurt each other in our flesh, and we often allow influence to give us more of a passion or drive to hurt each other. Not that we wouldn't want to retaliate on our own, but often if we check ourselves, we allow the influence of others or what others would think to to go down routes and to cement things. So with everything you do, I ask that you would seek God and his counsel. And I say that out of love. As well as Monday will be the day I get my 30-day chip, and it'll be 35 days celibate. And that is a choice, and I could never imagine saying, like I've said with my sobriety, pot, alcohol, tobacco, that I know I'm young, but I'm going to go to the rest of my life and not do that. And I'm doing that for myself, for any and everyone I come in contact with, for my anointment with God, for my son that'll never see me go to at least that when I'm hurting, and for others that I can lift up. For the power of my testimony is in these sacrifices. And so Monday I'll be 35 days celibate, 35 days single, even though my separation really was never breaking up with you. I don't think it really ever has been. There's been threats, and I wish there wasn't on both sides. But what an achievement. And I just pray that God would keep me determined to stay on this track with whatever he brings in my life. That there are things that you just won't waver or sacrifice, and things you won't even entertain, because you might, when it comes to celibacy, you might not be giving all the way, but if you have this seed in you, or this desire, or this thing that you're fighting, well, you're fighting. And once you're allowing there to be the fight in you, you're not letting God take that and control that. We just know it's inevitable what's going to eventually happen. So keep strong in faith. And my last part is, if you're hurting and you're going through a breakup or distance or a replacement in your life, just know that you're not the only one. I've seen countless videos, hours of videos of people online and the way that people deal with things, and I get caught up in the rabbit hole of seeing how others are dealing with things, which is not going to do anything for me or take away my emotions, because I'm the one within my own emotions. I'm the one within my own walls at home alone. I'm the one that has to go through my own struggles, and so it'd be easy for you to have the want to run back, and it also could be easy for you to have a want to go back and come with correction, because I've done that countless times. And to anyone dealing with any of these things, I would just make them work. If I'm not God, so I don't know God's intent for anything and what he can make out of good and bad, but take advantage of the time that you have to be on solid ground. Raise your bar and expectations, and don't waver in the secret place. Don't behind the scenes behave in ways, or inside harbor feelings that are going to eventually see you out with people or things that you do. Don't duck the healing. Don't duck that process. And some of us, the process is hard because we've ducked it for so long and we never allowed it. But if you love somebody truly, and somebody truly loves you, they are going to do everything in their power, and if they're a believer, everything in the power of God, to be a better partner for you. So don't sacrifice that. If somebody loves you, they're going to go through everything. And that'll be marriage one day. If somebody loves you, they're going to go through everything, because we are ever changing, and often if we lose track of our emotions and we just let the effect of the emotions that we lose track of over time, we're going to go through lots of stages and changes in our life. So like I said in the last video, have that open communication that is proper and healthy, and give each other that. Respect boundaries. Things that were incredibly hard for me, and even if you have a want but you lose yourself so far, or life as you know, putting yourself in a spot where you can be comfortable but still settling with what you were around or over, boundaries could be hard. For me, I think that, I guess, communication for why boundaries would have been a good thing, or but if somebody loves you, they're going to do the work. They're going to put the work in. They're going to do corrections. They're going to really seek help, and they're going to seek God, and they're not going to talk about it. They're going to walk about it. It's not enough to have the want. You got to have God, and you got to put in the work, and the steps are hard. I've said this before. My counselor said it the other day. The first step is the hardest, right? And when she's saying that, I'm thinking what I've said a million times to you and to other people, and kids, and my own son, and stepkids. You gotta jump sometimes. If you're anything like this skinny guy, often I can't walk into cold water, or I won't be able to get into it. I have to run into cold water, and sometimes I have to tell my son, dude, tell me to jump in the water, because if I can't for myself, often I can do for others. And so many times over the years, when my son tells me to jump, I'm going to jump. I'm still scared, because I know what's going to happen, and that's fear in your head. But the more you just jump, you face off fear, and so you don't let fear have a foothold in your life in that area that you jump. So you got to jump in faith, and it's just like any other thing you jump into. You are not the one in control. Now you can jump in and just jump right back out and never do it again. You could swim across the river and you're like, that's good enough, I'm scared, I'm gonna do it again. Or as you get an upper hand on fear, go do it again and build that. And we gotta apply that with people in our lives and opinions of people in our lives, and see why we are doing what we are doing, and what we really want in our life, and what we have to do to get that. So don't lose faith. There's a few nuggets in here about communication and relationships and boundaries and faith, jumping, trusting, being patient. And these are great to apply for parenthood. I got to talk about it a little bit in a video before, and I know I've said it before to my ex. And I say this to anyone: when you are a good parent, and I've said this to you, and just because you didn't hit every mark that I would want, or a mark that I would say that maybe I haven't even hit, doesn't mean you're not a good parent. And so forgive me for that, truly, and in my heart, forgive me for that. But as I've said to you, and I'll say to others, if you are a good parent, then your kids can use you being a better parent. And I mean it like this. I would tell my ex that you are a good parent. They're going to love you no matter what, because they do. And the next day, they're going to love you. So let's take this time to dig deeper. And I need to apply that with myself. I'm seeing the effects of social media and video games with my son, and it's weighing on me a lot. And we all do it. We allow certain things to influence us or dictate our feelings with our kids, or vice versa, our kids to us. And I've said a while ago, when I started seeing the words love come up when it had to do with things like my son wanted video games, I would cut these things because that's just not okay. Recently, I've seen some of my kid's grades in school, and he's doing good in some, and he's doing, to my standard and his standard, not well in a number of areas. And I'm being vulnerable by speaking about this because that's my son, and I would offend him through everything. But I look at these areas and I'm like, wow, he's so good at video games and figuring these things out in these games and spending hours on them. But these areas, these foundations as a first grader, he's struggling in. And you got to look at yourself as a parent. Like, wow, I literally have right or left to go here. And if you're a parent and you see it, you're a good parent, you see it, you're like, I got a lot of control in this, or I got a lot of influence I can be doing in this. So I just ask for prayers that I would be able to, given the strength to be able to step in, as I've stepped in a number of times over the years, with being that foundation as a parent to my kid. He's going through a lot, and he's going through a lot of loss right now. And he's had a number of dreams, and so I just ask that you guys would pray for him. It's the last couple of weeks, he's done what my ex's kids have done, and he's almost every night I get woke up to him getting in the bed with me. And so I think that our kids and us are all going through a lot of similar things. And some areas I like about him getting in the bed, but then also like getting woke up. And that was the problem for a long time with my ex's kids, and we got through a lot more than that was ever talked about. Not everything was an easy submission for either of us. I think we both kind of expected that we'd both submit to each other, but there was things that we did to each other that wouldn't have allowed it. And I've said that in videos a week back, that we want women to submit to us, right? But are we leading them? Are we giving them peace? Are we giving them strength? Are they comfortable with us? Are we a safe place? And so, safety is important. And it's not something that you can just speak on. It's something that you have to be walking in. And I'm learning that a little bit. I'm learning a lot through God. It's crazy because I ask for answers from God, and He doesn't give them when we want all the time, most of the time. But if we are attentive and focused, we'll get the answers, or we'll become the answer, because the answer will be given to us. Learning, that obviously our body is made up most of water, and so water is something that is a type of safety and a type of care to give to us. It's a type of acknowledgement to our body, is to give it back water. And I was told that in counseling because I've not been drinking lots of water, and so I am being affected from the lack of water, as well as nutrition and stuff. And I'm going through weeks where I'm balling it up, eating good, working out, feeling better. And then I go through the weeks where I don't have my kid, and I'm in my head, and I'm not doing these things. So let's check our intent, because God will continue to humble us if we are just trying to figure out ways to be better, and it's not rooted in God. Because God will know that if we get better in this area, or fulfillment in this area, but it's not of Him, that it'll take us from Him and our attention to Him. And He wants in everything. So praise God. Don't give up. take care of yourself. This holiday season will come and go, and tomorrow is not promised. So remember that you never know when it's somebody's time, and so love each other. Position yourself from people, finally, and put in the work. You're not the only one hurting out there, guys and girls. Let's be thankful that God gives us mercy and grace. And let's truly walk as believers and followers. Let's not be professors with our mouths. Let's be doers with our life. You're not alone. God says you are enough, and He's chose you. And if you're chosen, there's a walk that we make. Don't get caught up in habits or ties with people or strings attached. Let God make the way in your life. You don't owe anything to anyone when it comes to it. If you're a parent, one of the top things in your life is to be a parent. And if you're a Christian parent, the rest is said. If people love you, they will love you. If people love you, they will do better by you. And if people love you, they will work on themselves. And it won't be a talk, it'll be a walk. And my videos are meant to inspire people, to push people past themselves, to push people past their dead nature self, to let you know that you're not alone, and to let me know I'm not alone. In reality, maybe in your physical you are, and that's okay. You know, I've seen my friend Jared twice in the last 5 weeks, and as he apologized to me for behaviors that he did and that I don't do, everybody has their struggles and problems, even the ones that are speaking to you and telling you what you should do. Everybody is having their own issues in their own minds and in their own families and things, so I already forgave him. I just had a long talk with God as I left a couple weeks ago, like, thank you, Lord, this is why I don't do this, you know, this is why I don't drink, and I wouldn't want to drink around my kids. I will say one of the things out of that was I got to know him deeper, and I just wish that he was able to speak to me in the way that he did without a vice. And I will say they get to see the Ducks win. And so we're all going through things. Just depends on where you want to go and how hard you're going to work, where you want to end up being. I ask for prayers for myself, and as I always do, wherever I go, I ask for prayers for my ex, and I ask that forgiveness in her life and forgiveness for herself, and that we can forgive each other. There's value in time, both good and bad, and there's a lot you can do in time, and there's a lot you cannot do in time. It just depends on how deep you go into it. I think I'm done with the videos today. I'm going to try to get a little bit of nature before it gets too dark, and just know our emotions are powerful and true, but our emotions are not absolute. And I've been told this by a 90-year-old man with a lot of wisdom, more than me. And our emotions we can make poor choices in. So lean on God. I love you all.